Nobody saw this coming. Not the loyal supporters. Not the critics. And definitely not Prince Harry. Because what just exploded out of the Vale family circle isn't just drama. It's a detonation. 3 voices. 1 coordinated narrative. And a series of claims so explosive that even the royal family insiders are reportedly stunned into silence. Thomas Markle Sr. steps forward. Doria Ragland breaks her quiet streak. Samantha Markle drops statements that feel less like interviews and more like calculated grenades. And at the center of it all, Meghan Markle, the woman who rebuilt her image, the architect of Archewell, the streaming darling of Netflix. But what happens when the people closest to you stop whispering and start talking? Is this a bitter family feud spiraling out of control? Or is this the beginning of a narrative collapse that no PR machine, not even one polished inside the royal family, can contain? Because if even half of these bombshell claims hold weight, this isn't just bad. It's catastrophic. And Prince Harry? Let's just say, sources claim he didn't see this coming. The silence didn't break gently. It cracked. And when it cracked, it echoed from private estates to palace corridors. Because Thomas Markle Sr. didn't just share concerns. He sat down in what insiders are calling a carefully timed sit-down and calmly suggested that Meghan Markle's rise inside the royal family circle wasn't exactly the fairytale the public was sold. He didn't shout. He didn't rage. He simply leaned back and said, "There are things the world doesn't know." And just like that, the internet stopped scrolling. Within hours, clips were circulating. Slow-motion edits. Zoom-ins. Lip-reading analyses. Hashtags climbing. Supporters scrambling. Critics celebrating. But Doria Ragland wasn't alone. Doria Ragland, who had mastered the art of strategic silence for years, suddenly began clarifying misconceptions. That's the phrase she used. Clarifying misconceptions. Except the clarifications felt less like cleanup and more like confirmation. She hinted at private tensions long before Archewell ever launched. She alluded to carefully curated narratives. She even implied that certain interviews Meghan Markle gave during the Netflix docuseries were selectively framed. Selectively framed. 2 words. Nuclear impact. And then came Samantha Markle. Samantha Markle didn't bother with elegance. She came armed with timelines, screenshots, old emails, archived voice notes that she claims paint a very different picture of Meghan Markle's journey from ambitious outsider to royal-adjacent powerhouse. Are they verified? That's not the point. They are viral. One alleged email, reportedly from years before Meghan Markle ever met Prince Harry, suggested long-term branding strategies that included phrases like positioning, influence networks, and legacy alignment. Critics are calling it calculated ambition. Supporters are calling it normal career planning. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because some of these alleged communications overlap with moments the public once viewed as spontaneous, emotional, authentic. Was it strategy? Or survival? The royal family hasn't issued a formal statement. But insiders say the mood behind closed doors is tense. Prince Harry has remained visibly absent from recent public appearances. A charity gala? Cancelled. An Archewell Youth Summit? Postponed. A Netflix promotional clip? Quietly delayed. Coincidence? Or containment? Sources. And yes, we say sources because that's how this game works, claim Prince Harry was blindsided by the coordinated timing. Not necessarily by the content, but by the unity. Because family feuds are messy. But this felt organized. 3 separate interviews. 3 overlapping narratives. 3 individuals who rarely align, suddenly harmonized. And what's even more intriguing? The language. They didn't accuse Meghan Markle of crimes. They didn't allege anything illegal. They questioned credibility. They questioned authenticity. They questioned whether the public image of Meghan Markle, humanitarian, reformer, modern power partner, was a carefully engineered brand rather than an organic evolution. That kind of doubt doesn't scream. It lingers. And lingering doubt is far more dangerous than loud accusations. Meanwhile, social media has split into digital battlegrounds. Team Meghan Markle says this is bitterness disguised as concern. Team Thomas Markle Sr. says this is truth finally surfacing. Neutral observers? They are asking why now? Why, after the Netflix deal soared? Why, after Archewell funding reportedly expanded internationally? Why, when Meghan Markle's public approval numbers were climbing again? Timing is everything. And this timing feels deliberate. Because in high-profile circles, narratives are currency. And someone just devalued Meghan Markle's. The question isn't whether this is uncomfortable. It's whether it's survivable. Because if more archived material surfaces, if more interviews are scheduled, if more clarifications appear, then what we're watching isn't a family disagreement. It's the slow unraveling of a legacy. And for Prince Harry, who built his post-royal family identity around partnership and independence, this isn't just a reputational ripple. It's personal. And when the personal collides with the public, that's when empires shake. And just when it seemed like the storm couldn't get louder, the leaks began. Not dramatic, cinematic leaks. Calculated ones. A blurred document here. An anonymous voicemail transcript there. A former insider speaking under digital distortion on a late-night live stream. And suddenly, this wasn't just about family tension. It was about money. According to an unnamed source claiming ties to Archewell's early development team, internal budgeting didn't always align with public messaging. Lavish launch events labeled as awareness campaigns. Private jet travel categorized under strategic outreach. Luxury venue rentals reportedly justified as global partnership networking. Are these illegal? No confirmed evidence says so. But are they extravagant? That depends on who you ask. Critics online are pointing to screenshots allegedly showing six-figure event decor invoices. Supporters argue that global philanthropic branding requires high-impact visuals. But here's where eyebrows really started rising. An alleged draft proposal, again, unverified but wildly circulated, outlined a 5-year expansion plan positioning Meghan Markle as a transitional global stateswoman. Not just a foundation head. Not just a media personality. A stateswoman. The language reportedly included phrases like influence consolidation, strategic alliance building, and post-royal family narrative independence. That last one? Explosive. Because it implies planning beyond simple charity work. It hints at image architecture, long-term positioning, legacy sculpting. And then came the Netflix angle. Insiders whisper that certain scenes from the docuseries were reshot. Emotional reactions refined. Dialogue tightened. One anonymous production assistant claimed that moments presented as spontaneous reflections were revisited for clarity. Revisited for clarity. Translation? Possibly curated emotion. Again, no official confirmation. But the rumor alone is feeding the fire. And let's not ignore the financial whispers. A trending thread claims that donor contributions surged immediately after specific emotional episodes aired on Netflix. Correlation? Maybe. Coincidence? Possibly. But in the court of public opinion, optics matter more than legal technicalities. Meanwhile, Thomas Markle Sr. doubled down in a follow-up appearance, subtly suggesting that he had documents in safekeeping. Doria Ragland posted a cryptic quote about truth outlasting performance. Samantha Markle hinted during a live stream that more receipts could surface if necessary. Receipts. That word alone sent comment sections into chaos. And Prince Harry? Still silent. No joint statement. No denial. No fiery defense. Silence can be strategic, but it can also look suspicious. Some insiders speculate his urging de-escalation behind closed doors. Others believe he's consulting crisis managers with military precision. Because here's the uncomfortable reality. If these allegations evolve from gossip to investigation, if donor scrutiny intensifies, if regulators even sniff around Archewell accounting, the narrative shifts from messy family drama to potential institutional damage. And institutions do not tolerate instability. Public sympathy is fragile. Royal-adjacent prestige is even more delicate. Meghan Markle built her image on resilience, empowerment, and narrative control. But when anonymous sources, archived drafts, and family voices converge at once, control becomes chaos. And chaos spreads. The real question now isn't whether this will trend. It's whether it will escalate. Because in high-profile power circles, once the word receipts enters the chat, it rarely leaves quietly. And now, the fallout. Because scandals don't just trend. They mutate. Behind the polished gates of influence, conversations are reportedly shifting from how do we respond to how do we protect ourselves. That's a very different question. Legal analysts, the unofficial, internet-certified kind, have begun dissecting every public statement made by Thomas Markle Sr., Doria Ragland, and Samantha Markle. Notice the phrasing. Notice the restraint. Notice how nothing directly accuses, but everything implies. That's not accidental. It's strategic insulation. Meanwhile, Whispers of internal audits have started circling around Archewell. Not official investigations, at least not publicly, but routine compliance reviews. You know, the kind that just happen to begin when headlines get uncomfortable. Coincidence? Social media doesn't think so. Donor forums are reportedly buzzing with private discussions about transparency. A few mid-level corporate partners have quietly removed Archewell logos from their websites pending clarification. Again, no dramatic press releases. Just subtle distancing. And subtle distancing in elite circles? That's the first crack in the wall. Netflix executives also rumored to be monitoring developments closely. Translation: if public sentiment shifts hard enough, content strategies shift with it. Streaming platforms love controversy until controversy threatens investor confidence. Because here's the reality no one wants to say out loud. Brand Meghan Markle is bigger than a person. It's contracts. It's partnerships. It's speaking fees. It's global influence rooms where access is currency. If credibility erodes, even slightly, the ripple effect could be brutal. And then there's the royal family. Officially silent. Unofficially? Observers claim senior members are concerned about reputational cross-contamination. That phrase alone feels icy. Reputational cross-contamination. In other words, if this turns toxic, distance will be maintained. Prince Harry now stands at a crossroads that feels almost Shakespearean. Defend his partner publicly and risk amplifying the controversy? Or maintain dignified silence and risk looking detached? Either move carries consequence. Because silence, at this stage, is no longer neutral. It's interpreted. Every cancelled appearance becomes a headline. Every delayed speech becomes a theory. Every neutral facial expression in paparazzi photos becomes a think piece. And Samantha Markle's latest teaser didn't help. In a cryptic livestream sign-off, she smirked and said, "The truth has layers. We've only peeled back the first one." The first one. If that's theatrical exaggeration, it worked. If it's a warning, even more chilling. Financial markets haven't reacted dramatically, yet. No formal probes have been announced, yet. No lawsuits filed, yet. But tension thrives in the word yet. Because modern scandals don't explode in a single blast. They unfold in episodes. Episode 1, allegations. Episode 2, leaks. Episode 3, consequences. We are somewhere between 2 and 3. And the public? They are watching like it's prestige television. Refreshing feeds. Analyzing body language. Decoding captions. Waiting. Because if more receipts drop. If an official body requests documentation. If a partner formally withdraws. This won't just be uncomfortable. It will be transformative. For Meghan Markle. For Prince Harry. For Archewell. And maybe even for the carefully balanced power structure surrounding the royal family. The empire isn't collapsing. Not yet. But it's trembling. And tremors, if ignored, become earthquakes. So here we are. 3 voices. One escalating narrative. And a silence from Meghan Markle and Prince Harry that's starting to feel louder than any statement ever could. Is this a coordinated takedown fueled by resentment? Or is this the slow exposure of a carefully engineered empire? Because let's be honest, when family members align, when words like receipts and documents start floating around, when partners quietly distance themselves, that's not random noise. That's pressure building. And pressure always finds a release point. The question is, who breaks first? Does Meghan Markle step forward with a jaw-dropping counter-reveal that flips the script completely? Does Prince Harry finally speak and shut this down with one calculated appearance? Or are we about to witness the kind of unraveling that turns brand royalty into cautionary tale? I want to hear from you. Is this bitterness disguised as bravery? Or bravery disguised as bitterness? Drop your thoughts below. But keep it sharp, because this story is evolving fast. And trust me, if more leaks surface, if more insiders start talking, if even one official body steps in, you'll want to be ahead of it, not catching up. Hit like if you think this is far from over. Subscribe if you believe the biggest twist hasn't even landed yet. And turn on notifications, because when the next layer peels back, we're diving straight into it. No filters. No mercy. Just the story everyone else is too nervous to say out loud.